Technology is such a great and wonderful tool, and it's a great asset, but it is also a detriment when it comes to productivity and focus. I'm not gonna say the wave of the future. This is the wave of the present. We're technology connected. They're seeing short-term and long-term goals, and how their in-the-moment decisions can either set them up for success in achieving those goals or can knock them back and create then more work for them to achieve those goals. Good morning and welcome back to the Caffeinated Classroom. If this is your first time here, I want to introduce myself. My name is Marie. I'm a high school English teacher in San Diego, California, and welcome to my classroom. So it is Monday of the first full week of May, which means that we have exactly 6 weeks. Well, exactly is not exact. We have 6 weeks until summer break, which means we have 5 weeks of like instruction and work, and then that last week is generally like review, and then a couple days of finals, and then the kids don't even come to school that Friday. So truly I have like 5 weeks to close out all of the instruction and everything and all the practice and everything I need them to do. So I'm feeling the pressure a little bit. My students are in like my sophomore class taking a midterm this week. I need to finish making the midterm. But we're like doing some writing and checking for mastery of certain skills when it comes to argumentative writing and that sort of thing. And then my 9th graders, we're moving right along. Same sort of thing, working on analytical argumentative writing. But this week, I really want to focus on just like maximizing productivity, like maximizing how much we can get done. So my class is on my school is on a quarter schedule, right? So we're on, it's called like a 4x4. So we have 4 periods a day and we have 4 quarters of the year. So a course is done in half the amount of time of like a semester course. I think you understand what a quarter is like. I honestly don't know why I just chose this moment to like teach you how a quarter system works, because it's pretty self-explanatory. Quarter system, we have 90-minute block periods, and I see my students every single day. And so you think to yourself like, oh wow, 90 minutes, and you see them every single day, like you must get a ton done. Well, stamina is not necessarily, like the number of things that you want to get done does not necessarily mean that students physically can get that stuff done. Like their stamina isn't quite there. So like there's one thing to consider, there's another thing to consider that these kids are like 14, 15, and 16, so you kind of have to like take into account even less like focus stamina. And so obviously that's why we make our lessons dynamic and like get kids really engaged in the best ways that we can. We take breaks and that sort of thing. But like technology is such a great and wonderful tool, and it's a great asset, but it is also a detriment when it comes to productivity and focus. So that leads me to, before I really get deep into this video, I want to say a big thank you to Pocket Points for sponsoring this week's vlog. Pocket Points is an app to help with exactly what I'm talking about. You guys are going to see a whole lot more in this video about Pocket Points, because I'm going to be setting this up with my students. It is an app that will track their phone usage during the time that they are in class, and they get to earn points by not using their phone. And I am pretty excited to get started. They have been helping me come up with different sorts of rewards that they can win, both like rewards that can be purchased and rewards that are a little bit more intrinsic, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so we're gonna be setting that up in all of my classes today, getting everybody signed up. I also have a lot of things that I need to go get copied, so I'm gonna go take care of that right now, and then I will check in with you guys probably after school if we're gonna be totally honest with ourselves. So, see you then. Hello again. As promised, this is my prep period. I'm just gonna show you what I'm like working on right now. I have been working on a whole bunch of different things, which are on my coffee stained to-do list that I spilled coffee all over this morning. Thank goodness it didn't go all over my computer at home. It just went on my notebook, which was still disappointing, but not disastrous, you know what I mean? So I'm just kind of getting through some things. I need to be working on some questions that I'm making for a midterm that my 10th grade team is all making together, so I just need to like finish my 10 questions and make sure that they're all good and kind of vet the answers with my teammates to make sure I didn't do anything too hard or too easy or confusing. But right now, what I am doing, I have now had all 3 of my classes sign up for or become in the process today of signing up for their own Pocket Points accounts and then joining my class. So I use Google Classroom, and I pushed out a link through Google Classroom that had within it the like code to join my class on Pocket Points. And I'm basically just calling this our like Pocket Points challenge, and I've been taking input from all 3 of my classes, my sophomores and then my 2 freshman classes, as to what sorts of rewards they would want, what sorts of rewards, and I had them like really keep in mind like what they've known me for months now. Like, what do you think is actually feasible for me to be able to like fulfill and uphold? Like, we can't be saying like a pizza party a week. It's just not, even if it is something that everybody could earn, it's just not something that is likely that I would be able to fulfill at this point in the year and in my life with 2 very small children at home. There is a lot of potential for this application and this program, and I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of like what my students and I were looking through just today, but I have to show you I'm looking down at the paper that I have been trying. Okay. How do I even begin this? So you know how those people out there, and you guys are probably, some of you watching are some of them, that can like really conceptualize numbers. Like if somebody was to ask me how many students are in this class, I could probably like have a range like, oh, that looks like 30-ish kids. Oh, that looks like 40-ish kids. That looks like 50-ish kids. If you had me in an arena at a concert and you were to say, how many people do you think are here? I would have actually no concept without having to really break it down and like look at, like I just don't have that kind of a brain that can visualize numbers. So this translates to me trying to figure out how many hours off of a phone each reward should be. Let me just show you what I'm working on. It's really good that I teach English, okay? Okay, so the inner workings of a mad woman here. I had to like figure out, okay, so if I have hour-and-a-half classes 4 days a week, and then 1 day a week I've got like 70-minute classes. It's approximately 7 hours a week. We've got approximately 5 weeks left, so that's like 35 hours. Take away today, so there's an hour and a half. Take away Memorial Day, there's an hour and a half. We're just gonna call it 32 hours possible, and that's kind of like lowballing it, right? And then I had to remind myself, hour and a half a day for most of the days of the week. The amount of time that it got me to just do this math was it was pretty embarrassing. I just need you guys to know that. So yeah, the basics of it all are like fairly simple as long as you're a little bit more like coherent than I am right now apparently, and I'm just like on the struggle bus. But I do want to show you guys what it looks like when you're setting this all up, because at first it was really intimidating to me because I don't know, like I said, I didn't have quite the bandwidth of like exactly what a reward was going to be, how many points or hours, or like, I don't know, it just seemed really intimidating. And then I just like took 5 minutes, literally I took 5 minutes to just sit down and really understand and digest like the different like help articles that are on the blog for Pocket Points. And I just like really sat down and started playing around with like making a class and all that. And I'll show you guys what I've created, but it's really not as intimidating as we think it's going to be. So basically, so here's what my computer screen looks like. I have 3 classes, right? So I have my 3 classes all set up, and I'm not gonna show you guys any of the kids' information or anything like that, but I will show you what it looks like if I were to click into one of my classes. Like I'll click into my sophomores here and I'll show you what it looks like what was so intimidating to me, and then how I figured out how simple it is, right? So, okay, so I have clicked on create a reward, and here you can like name your reward, and this is legitimately where I just like stopped before. I was like, nope, I'm done. All I did was I took a few minutes. If I click here, oh, it gives me all of these suggestions of really popular ones, and then suggestions of how many hours other teachers have been requiring for students to have to like clock in, right? Or like earn to get that. So like skipping a warm up doesn't really work for my class. Extra hall pass, I don't really monitor that too quickly. However, when I started like really skipping down, ask a yes or no question on a test, that is absolutely something that would help my students, because the only tests that I give are pretty heavily weighted because I give so few. So here you can see where easy, medium, hard, you can kind of like move the dial. This auto-populated at 8 hours, and that actually sounded pretty good to me. 8 hours is, I don't know, math, so many days. It sounded good to me. And then I can go down here and like type in for my students exactly what this has to do with, what they can use it on. Like I think I said that like up here I changed it to on the final, and then down here I just said like must be redeemed before finals review, and then you'll get like a special ticket or something to turn in with your final, or like to give to me during the final, so that I'm like basically keeping track of who has earned and redeemed this. You can make it unlimited. So truly, like once I sat down and just started making rewards, it all made a whole lot more sense to me. And I honestly don't know why it wasn't making sense to me before. I don't know, I got a lot going on in my brain, you know? So now what I'm going to be doing, just to get it ready for my students for tomorrow, I said just go home, sign up. Like, this is gonna be a fun little challenge for us. I know these classes pretty well. I've been, you know, talking to them about reading. I've been like taking care of their writing scores. I'm gonna finish putting these things in and creating all of their rewards, making sure that the amount of hours sound fair, right? And like are actually attainable. And I'm gonna try and make sure that I like calibrate if there are a certain number of hours that you got, like if they redeemed something, they could still earn something else. I have an all class reward that could go along with a personal reward. I'm getting it all figured out so that tomorrow we can just say, hey, here's what the actual system is. Now that you're all in, your clock starts, right? And you're gonna have 32 hours possible. Here are the different things you can earn, and here's how to earn it. We're trying to figure out things like, does the app have to be on their phone in the background and then their phone locked? Yes, it uses minimal battery. These are just some different like FAQs that I've been looking up on the website and then like pushing out to my students. But so far, while I'm talking about this, it seems like a lot of work, but it really actually isn't. If I had just taken the time at the very beginning to like research and just go through and like do some trial and error, this really wouldn't have taken me as much time as it did and as much brain power as it is right now. So I'm gonna finish up that. I'm gonna make myself an afternoon cup of coffee, and then I'm going to be writing some midterm questions for the midterm that I'm giving my sophomores this week. I'm sure I have other things that I'm supposed to, oh, and I need to make 4 different reading quizzes. So I got some assessments to make. I will check in with you guys tomorrow. Bye. Okay, so the week is halfway over. It is Wednesday and it just feels like May, even though it keeps raining outside. Like, it has been cold and dreary and full on raining multiple days this week, including right now, and it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon already, but I digress. It doesn't quite feel like May, but oh my gosh, the energy of the rooms feels like May, which made this, in fact, the perfect timing to start a new cell phone. Not even a new cell phone policy, because my cell phone policy is what it has been since day one. Here is my philosophy regarding cell phones. And that kind of like leads me back into just explaining why I'm willing to try different tactics and different tools to help students be responsible with technology, such as Pocket Points, which is what I'm talking about here. And spoiler alert, I love it. Yes, this is a sponsored video, but like, I would still tell you I think those of you who have watched my channel for long enough know that I'm pretty honest and I'm pretty real. Most of your comments always say like, I'm a real person and I'm showing you reality. Yes, my reality is that I love it, and I'll explain all of the reasons why in just a moment, but sorry, do you feel like I'm hugging you when I do this? Hug. Sorry, my arms get tired. My very firm belief and philosophy, and has always been this way regarding technology, specifically cell phones, with students in the classroom, is that it is my opportunity and I think my obligation to help my students, teenagers, learn how to be responsible with their technology. It is the year 2019. I have been teaching since 2006, 2007, so like it's been a minute, right? And even then, when only half of my students had cell phones, it was still so important for my students to learn how to be responsible with their technology. It's not going anywhere. I have my cell phone right here next to me, right? At all times, because it connects me to practical things, like it connects me to the caregivers of my children. It connects me to my colleagues when we are teaching and say, hey, what are we giving that quiz today? Like, it's a quick way to access each other, and then it's also just a part of our daily lives. Like it or not, like this is the wave, I'm not even gonna say the wave of the future, this is the wave of the present. We're technology connected, and it is what it is, right? Just like accept reality. Kids are gonna have their phones on them. And so I treat my classroom as the opportunity and grounds for helping them train themselves to be responsible with technology. If I was to sit in a job interview or at any job, if I sit at this job and just sit on my phone the whole entire time, doing things that are not productive and that are distracting, that are away from what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm not gonna keep my job for very long. If I am truly working towards student college and career readiness, then technology and the use of technology responsibly and appropriately is definitely going to be part of like the practice of my class, one of the skills that we are working on. With that thought in mind of teaching my students technological responsibility, there are some different things that I have decided, like this will be something that I take on, this is going to be part of my everyday, helping students stay off their phones. it gets to be a little bit too much. And me reminding them is just like mom coming back and barking at them. And it only works to a certain extent, but to truly teach them how to self-regulate is what I am going for here. So I have a couple of options now in my classroom. The first is something that I have vlogged about before, and I'm pointing over to the side. It is my phone pockets. I'll just show you, right? I have those. Don't mind the mess of graded and ungraded work in front of it, that are numbered, that have little cards for charging. And this is something that I am keeping up because it's great for test days and like exam days and a day when we're having a discussion and we just really need to not even have the idea or the temptation of looking at our phones. So that's like one thing, is keeping it over there for discussions, and like I said, just for security measures for like exams and that sort of thing, just to keep those sorts of temptations of cheating and other sorts of nefarious activity, keep it off their plate completely, right? No temptation, no worry about it. They don't even have to think about it. They can just focus in on what they have to do, which is take their exam or do whatever it is. That's part number one. But then I'm also keeping it over there for the kids who want to try and self-regulate in a way that keeps their phone away from them and just frees them up. A lot of my students feel anxiety because if they know their phone is possibly going off and they know that it is possibly near them, it could be their mom calling, it could be their best friend texting about something, it could be all of these different things, and the physical removal and putting somewhere where they can see it and they know that it's secure and it's their own little pocket or their own little spot in the charging station, that is something that they can work on. But then I have the flip side of that, right? And I have the students who get more anxiety when their phone is not with them. And that's not something that I'm willing to tackle right now because I still have curriculum and I have content and I have skills that I'm trying to teach them. And that is where Pocket Points comes in. Pocket Points, in the 2-3 days now that we have really implemented it, I have already seen a change in the tide in the way that my students are thinking about their technology. They are working towards 2 specific goals, and any one student could make both of these goals and one of them twice over in the allotted time that we have for the rest of the quarter. I have noticed already in my classroom in the 3 days that we've been doing it, and we've been pretty busy, they're doing a lot of collaboration, and these are the times where students start to zone out and go onto their phones because, oh, well, the rest of my group is having this discussion. I don't really have to, or like I don't really feel like it, or I don't know what to say, or I already spoke, so now I'm in a zone out. They are stopping themselves and saying, oh wait, I want my Pocket Points. Oh wait, I'm playing for Pocket Points right now. And they even said like, Mrs. Morris, can you please go get us a Chromebook because we want to look something up, but we still really want our Pocket Points. Because normally if they need to look something up, I'd say, well, you can just use your phone. And so now like, it's just an interesting, beyond keeping students off of their phones while I need their attention or while their collaborative like groups need their attention, and just making them focus so that they can actually get things done. The whole idea of being able to have that self-regulatory aspect and like working towards earning something for themselves and working towards earning a common goal. Like I think it's really important that I have the 2 goals, one that's a common goal for the whole class and one that's like individual, is pretty cool because they are helping each other regulate, like, hey, no, we have to earn Pocket Points, we have to earn Pocket Points. And they're also thinking to themselves, well, Mrs. Morris said that we're gonna take an exam on Friday. When I'm done with my exam, if I have nothing to read, I might wanna go on my, they're like budgeting their time. Not everybody's gonna agree with that kind of a philosophy of students budgeting how much time they're gonna stay off their phone. Like, I know there's a lot of like, either be on your phone or don't, but I am kind of enjoying watching them problem solve and like think through how they want to solve these issues and how they want to navigate this kind of a space. Yeah, those are my thoughts. I love it. So all in all, what do I like about it? I like that students are working towards a common goal as a class. Like, it's building classroom community, which is like one of the pillars of my teaching practice, is building classroom community. It is also teaching students how to self-regulate in a way that is fun. It gamifies it for sure, and it's fun, and they're learning self-regulation because they're seeing things in the long run. Like, they're seeing short-term and long-term goals, and how their in-the-moment decisions can either set them up for success in achieving those goals or can knock them back and create then more work for them to achieve those goals. So that's like number 1. Number 2, and number 3, I just love that I don't have to sit there saying, get off your phone, get off your phone, get off your phone. I can just do one reminder. Hey, if you are playing for Pocket Points today, make sure you open the app and then lock your phone, keep it locked all period, and you should be able to earn an hour and a half. Like, all I have to say is once, that does the work for me. Like, it's pretty cool. Yeah, so that is my thought. If you would like more information, if this is something that you want to look more into, or if you want to sign up for Pocket Points, check out the link down below. It is a way quicker onboarding process than I thought it was going to be. So let me just tell you, like, flat out, it'll take you like 15 minutes tops to get everything all set up. It's really easy to push out to your students. Our teenagers in the year 2019 are pretty good at navigating apps. And I didn't even get into all the other cool stuff that they can do. Like, they don't even have to use Pocket Points just in your classroom. They can use it to earn like coupons and other sorts of discounts and like free pizza and like Redbox rentals and that sort of thing. So I would definitely say look into it, have them look into it. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below and I will get back to you. If I can't answer your question, I will steer you in the right direction. If you have other sorts of ideas for like rewards and that sort of thing, I can see where next year when I get into this, I'm going to need to diversify some of my rewards because not every class group is going to vote on the exact same ones. Some of them are going to want different sorts of things. And I want to make sure I can accommodate everybody's wants and needs. So until we meet again, my friends, I will bid you adieu. If you've not already subscribed to my channel, please take a moment to do so, and I will see you guys next time. Have a wonderful day.